Well, the Hotbodies Lightning GTX2 twin engine Nitro monster truck. These were quite rare back in the day. I don't know how many they sold, but they sold probably a reasonable amount of them. But you just don't ever see them around, and that means that people don't really know how they work. So let's have a look to see how the two engines actually power the truck and a few other things. You'll find that it's pretty much a normal monster truck apart from the obvious. So I've taken the R clips off. If we take the shell off, you'll see that it's pretty much your normal kind of monster truck that you would have seen back in the early 2000s. Not a lot different. You've got a flat chassis plate, normal kind of axle and diff setup in my opinion. Battery and receiver is here. This would have come with a Spectrum receiver and transmitter, so Spectrum radio gear standard. I've got the receiver for it, but the transmitter was lost, so I haven't got the transmitter for it. So at the moment I'm running it on Futaba, because the Futaba radio gear is the only radio gear that I've got that's able to do mixing. The reason we got about to do mixing is because we've got two steering servos, one there and one there. So obviously they have to work together in order to steer, because obviously if they worked independently they wouldn't be able to do the job. They've both got to move at the same time. So you need a radio equipment, or you need a transmitter that's able to mix them together and move them both at the same time. The engines are both placed nicely in quite a nice position, I reckon anyway. They both drive the same spur. So you've got two, obviously you've got a bell on one, which is there, and you've got another bell on the other engine. They're both 26 engines, Hotbodies, identical engines obviously. The air filters, this is an original air filter. The foam is holding up nicely. This one, the foam had disintegrated and I had a spare one, so I put one on. So we've got one new and one old. I will get two matching new ones at some point. The tanks are either side, an exhaust there and an exhaust there. In my opinion, it's a rather nice setup. If we move down to the floor, it might be easier for you to see. So these particular engines have got roto starts. I do believe that all of them had roto starts, and then you get to them through there. You have to stick the shaft through those little holes there. Four-wheel drive, obviously, and it is quite powerful. It's not a bit powerful, it's quite powerful. You could do with a bit more power, in my opinion. I've toyed with the idea of putting two slightly bigger engines in. These are 0.26. I toyed with the idea of putting maybe a couple of 0.28s or even a couple of ZR32s from LRP. The only thing is, I am a bit concerned about stripping out and ruining the diffs. You can't really get that many parts for these anymore. You can get parts, but you can't get them easily and readily available. So I think I'll probably keep them as they are. I may change the exhaust and tune these engines up a little bit. A bit of a better air filter, better flowing exhaust, maybe. I do run this truck, as you can see. We're currently covered in grass. A couple of days ago I took this out down the park, gave it a good old blast. I didn't film any of it because sometimes it's nice just to go about your daily life and not film anything. But I haven't had a chance to clean it yet, so we've got a lot of grass around it. But it's an exceptional truck, and I think this was made and designed back when manufacturers actually had fun making RC cars, in my opinion. These days it's very, very serious, so everything that gets produced is produced with a seriousness about it. Back when they made these, there wasn't much seriousness. It was, let's have some fun, let's stick 2 engines on it and that'll be great. It's actually really nice having 2 engines because, well, you've just got twice as much fun. And anyone who knows engines knows once you get both of them running in perfect synchronization together, they sound perfect and they perform perfectly. And these two actually perform brilliantly together. It's just almost as if they were twins. Again, anyone who knows engines will know that no 2 engines are ever the same. So you can get that engine there made and rolled off the production line, and that engine was directly behind that engine, made by the same person, the same production line on the same day, 10 minutes apart from each other. They will be different. Each one will have its little quirks, each one will behave differently, each one will just be slightly different. It's the same for any engine. For example, you could get a Ford Transit and then another Ford Transit behind that on the production line. They both roll off directly behind each other. Each one's going to have different mannerisms. It's just the way they are. So it is fun getting them to run great together, but it's easy nonetheless. And once you finally get there, after about 10 minutes of playing around, you've got a fantastic little truck. I really think that manufacturers should go back down the route of actually having fun and putting 2 engines on cars and just having fun, because this just screams to me not only nostalgia, but it screams fun from the hobby. A lot of the complaints about twin engine cars is that people can't get the engines to run at the same time together. They accelerate at different times. What you need to do is you need to set up the carburetors so that they're in unison. It's quite easy to do. Just undo the linkage, set the servo to neutral using your transmitter, and make sure both throttles are closed all the way, and then just do the linkage up. Happy days. Now both throttles will be opening at the same time. It's the same sort of process with a motorbike that's got more than one carburetor. It's the same sort of thing. Before you know it, you'll have a herd of bees buzzing around the local park, and you'll be standing there with a great big smile on your face, loving life. There are some people who've made twin engine monster trucks from scratch themselves using Savage XLs and things like that. Very good if you've got the patience and the time. More importantly, the patience not so much, but you do need patience, as with any build. More the time and the money, because it does cost money to make your own twin engine car. Definitely go and do it. If you can find one of these, get it. I've been after a roller of one of these for quite some time, but I just can't come across one. And this one, when I came across it, it's in mint condition. I know it's dirty now because I do use it, because I can't see the point in having something, leaving it to sit around, because all the bushings will start to perish, and it just doesn't. It's just a waste of money, a waste of time as well. But these are brilliant. So we've covered the engines, the way that they power the actual truck. They both go to the same spur. I'm sure you can see the spur gear down there. You can see the bell on the left. You might just be able to see down in there the other bell on the right. And they both... How can I get that? There we go. Spur gear, 2 bells. And they both power. the same single centre diff. 2 steering servos to steer the wheels. I don't really know why. I think 1 servo could do the job. I mean, this is no bigger than, I suppose it's about the same size as a Savage. Might be slightly bigger with those wheels. Probably a modern day servo would be able to do the job of these 2, but back then they just put 2 on, and I think that's really cool. 2 servos, and also it's more fun because you have to play around with the transmitter and get them both to move at the same time, adjusting various different settings, which is also great fun. 2 tanks. It's interesting watching how they both use their nitro. Once you spend sort of 5 or 10 minutes playing around with the needles on the carburetor, both carburetors, you get both tanks, or both engines I should say, to use the same amount of nitro, so they both run out at the same time. It's great fun trying to get to that stage. As I say, after 5 or 10 minutes of playing around, you'll be there, and you won't be going around thinking, hold on a minute, why is one engine still running? Oh, the other one's run out of nitro. You'll be fine. Of course, there are some really good practicalities of having 2 engines. Let's just say you've got a normal RC car with 1 engine, and that engine blows up, or it just conks out right at the back of a field. You've got to walk over and get it. With 2 of them, and the fact that they both drive the same centre diff, so if you've only got 1 engine running, you still get all 4-wheel drive, just as you would a normal monster truck. So if you're right at the back of a field, you can just about see your truck because it's a little speck at the back of the field. 1 engine decides it doesn't want to run anymore, perhaps it blows up, or it just runs out of fuel, or just conks out for any reason. The other one's still running, you can still drive it back, because as I said, each one still drives the same gearboxes, so you still get all your 4-wheel drive. And if you want to, you can just run it on 1 engine anyway. It's more than powerful enough on 1 engine. So there we go. A little bit of a close-up for some of you that may not have ever seen one of these Hotbodies Lightning GTX2s. You'll have to excuse the dirt. I did take it out down the park the other day and I haven't cleaned it yet. One of the common things is the drive shafts always used to pop out, much like on the Rush and a few other cars. What I normally do is well, it depends where I am. If I'm out and about, I'll just get some electrical tape, scrunch it up, stuff it in the little CV joints there, and that stops the shaft from moving around, and they don't pop out quite so easily then, because when the suspension is at full travel, they were too short and they do pop out. Some people put O-rings in there, other people put fuel pipe. Depends where I am. If I'm at home and I've got fuel pipe to hand, I'll put that in there. I've put O-rings in them before. In this one now, it's actually got scrunched up electrical tape because that's what I had to hand and it's been working, so that's just what I've left in there. It's a bit of a quick fix when I was out one day, and I've just left it in there because it works fine. It's just a scrunched up ball of electrical tape, and that stops the shafts from popping out. But there we go. I highly recommend, if you ever see one of these for sale and you think to yourself, should I get one or should I not? Should I get it? Get it. Unless it's a lot of money, in which case don't get it. But if your gut tells you that it's a reasonable amount of money, get it. You won't regret it. What a fantastic truck. Anyway, you lot, just a quick little look at this, because I do get questions about it. People do say, you know, how's it set up? How does the steering work? How does the engines work? Are they easy to run? Yes, of course they're easy to run. It's exactly the same as any other nitro engine. Incredibly simple. You get them running in no time. You know, tuning is a controversial subject, so I don't like to go into it too much, but once you get them tuned, which would take 5 or 10 minutes, you'll be there and it's absolutely perfect. There we go, you lot. Thanks for watching. Treat each other nicely, and we'll all have a good, happy life. And go and get yourself a nice twin-engine monster truck. I reckon we all need to rally together, and we need to tell some companies, whoever we decide to pick, whether it be HPI, Hotbodies, or whoever we pick. I don't think Hotbodies are actually about anymore, are they? They might be. Tamiya, or whoever. We all need to rally together, and we need to get them to make a modern day twin engine truck. But it's got to be like this. It can't be no ugly one. This is a good setup, and it needs to be like this. We'll see what we can do. Cheerio, you lot. All the best.